Welcome back inside Trailblazer Weekly, live from the CEC Television Studios. It's been a great week for the Dixie State volleyball team, and it's my pleasure to welcome head coach Robyn Felder to the show. Coach, thanks for being here.
You bet.
It's always a pleasure to have our coaches and our student athletes on to get to know you a little bit better and to discuss the season, and let's do that right now. You're about 3 weekends in to this season, 5-4 overall right now, 2-0 in Pac West play through the first 9 games of the season. What have you learned about this year's team that maybe you didn't quite know as well a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, those first few weekends, you're just trying to find your starting lineup. Chemistry's different, leadership's different. So I think we learned a lot preseason, just as far as who our go-to players are, who's going to step up and lead us, and different things like that. Opening up, obviously, 2-0 in the Pac West for the first weekend was awesome, gave us a huge confidence boost. So I think we're just now starting to kind of find our rhythm and move forward.
You talk about team chemistry and how important that is. Of course, that's important in any team sport. But as I look at volleyball and kind of the amount of energy that you need to play with on a consistent basis, I think that that's even more so important in volleyball. And so these first couple of weeks through fall camp, through the first few games, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it just seems like these first few weeks are just monumental to the success that a volleyball team will have.
Yeah, I mean, the relationship off the court has been awesome. The girls get along so well. The chemistry's been great, but finding those 10 athletes that mesh well on the court, that are doing their jobs, that are, it's a totally different ballgame. And so we've tried different lineups, we've tried different kids, and I think we've kind of found a group now that seems to be gelling really well. We've got kids that are behind them, that are pushing them. So I really feel like there's just good energy in the gym of just, we've found our group, but everybody's just pushing to make everybody better.
Let's look at each of those first 3 weekends, some home games and then out on the road as well. But let's look at that first weekend. You host the Crystal Inn Invitational Tournament, and you start at home, and that's kind of what I want to key in on here. And we've talked about it before in other interviews, but you go 2-1 in that weekend, and pushing the record aside, I know you would have wanted the 3-0 record that weekend, but how nice was it to open at home, to not have to worry about the stresses of being on the road and the travel and hotels that first weekend? It
was huge. We've never hosted before, so the fact that we got to be at home, sleep in our own beds, it was insane. I mean, it was so amazing. The crowd was great. We had a great crowd for every game. Yes, we would have wanted to go 3-0, but I think really what we learned from that is just, where we were champs last year, we have a target on our back every single game, and if we don't perform efficiently every night, then we can't win games. And every team is gunning for us, and so we can't take a night off. And so I think that's really what we learned from that Northwest game. Granted, they did a great job. I thought they outplayed us a little bit, but really we just can't afford to take a night off if we want to be where we want to be at the end of the season.
Of course, speaking of good volleyball teams and ranked volleyball teams, after that weekend, it was off to Roanoke Park, California, and the D2 West Region Showcase. And I think it's a fitting name as you take the top 2 teams in the Pac West, the CCAA, and the GNAC, and you just kind of throw them all in the gym and say, have at it. You go 1-3 down there, but maybe, record aside, you played 3 ranked teams, and you would have wanted a few more wins. But how important was that experience for you still to go in and play some ranked teams and to show your team these are the type of teams that we're going to have to beat if we want to accomplish the goals that we want to? Absolutely.
I mean, that's exactly what we want to do. Those teams were better than us at that point in the season, and so it was a learning curve for us. It was humbling. I would have liked to compete a little bit better. I would have liked to see a little more fight, but we just couldn't quite get our confidence in check. We just were hot and cold all weekend. 2 players on, 2 players off, and if you're going to beat those big time teams, you got to have 6 kids that are playing well all the time. And so finding that balance of everybody being on, we just couldn't do it. So we learned a lot. I think we saw some of the best teams in the nation. So once we come back to our conference, nothing seems scary anymore. It's like, oh, we saw a 6'4" outside hitter. Okay, we're fine. So I think that challenge early on is really going to pay off later in the season.
Speaking just directly to kind of the event itself, the D2 West Region Showcase, and obviously the Pac West, CCAA, and the GNAC crossover has been a thing of the past and that will continue to be, but they kind of dubbed it that showcase. How excited were you to go down and play in that? And that's one of the marquee D2 volleyball preseason tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fun because we saw Alaska last year in the postseason. We saw San Diego, you know, all those teams, we've seen them in the postseason every year, and we don't really see them until the postseason. So the fact that we see them preseason and then we see them postseason, it just shows, for me, how much better we get as the year goes on. We may not have competed as well preseason, but come postseason, we'll be right where we need to be.
Of course, you wrapped that tournament or that weekend up with the win over Sonoma State. You get in the win over the host school.
Yeah.
That had to feel nice to get that win and to beat the host school in the process.
Oh yeah, I think just winning, they were like, okay, we're not the worst team in America, you know. So, and we swept them and we played really well. So that felt good to get our offense going, and they wanted it. I mean, they were hungry after losing those 3 games, and I felt like they just came out to fight that last game.
The momentum from that Sonoma State game obviously carried over. You opened Pac West play last weekend in San Diego at Point Loma, and then in Irvine at Concordia Irvine, winning those matches 3-1, and then sweeping Concordia on Saturday. You really couldn't have asked for a better start to the Pac West season on the road to boot.
Absolutely. You know, those are 2 top teams. I mean, they were 2 top teams last year. And so coming into Point Loma, it's a hard place to play. Their gym is big, they're by the ocean, the air's different, the ball floats differently, so it's kind of a tough gym to play in. But we just came out swinging that first night. You know, kind of fell apart at the end of the first game, but really just had control of that match from there on out. And then carried that into Concordia. I felt like we just came in with guns blazing and we were fearless. We didn't, you know, wait and see what they were going to do. We just came out and did what we wanted to do, and it worked out pretty well for us.
And you mentioned that first set at Point Loma on Friday, and just kind of some mistakes on your side. Probably felt like you kind of beat yourself in that game more so than the other way around. But what was your message to the team between the first and second set on Friday in San Diego to say, calm down, we're fine, let's just play our game?
Yeah, I mean, I think they were mad at themselves because they were in control that whole game till the last, 6 points. But really, when we serve and pass well, we win volleyball games, and our passing fell apart. We couldn't get any offense going. We were giving them free balls and they were running their offense, and then they got momentum. And so, when you can't pass well, it just, every element of your game just goes down from there. So we just went back into, we got to serve and pass. We got to serve them tough, get them out of system, and then we've got to take care of the ball.
The next night in Irvine on Saturday, taking on a team that was previously undefeated at 10-0. That gym is not quite as big and wide open as the Point Loma gym, but I've been in there for basketball games, and it can get loud.
Rowdy, yeah.
And it just had to feel good to get that win to go to 2-0 in Pac West play.
Yeah, I mean, Concordia is a great team, and every statistical category they've been amazing. Awesome offense, great defensively. So like I said, I think going into that, we just said, don't wait and see what Concordia is going to do. You have to go in and take it from them. And you could just tell the looks in the girls' eyes. I mean, they were just like, we are not losing. I mean, there was just an energy in there that I was like, oh, we're fine. They're here to play. Whereas I think sometimes we get a little nervous or we wait and see what other teams are going to do. It wasn't happening, so that's what you like.
You had some great senior leadership on that trip, and more than just one player, but we're going to talk about one player specifically. Outside hitter Delane Daniel basically played the weekend of her life, and maybe I shouldn't call it that because you guys are probably used to that. Her playing this way all the time, but she wins the Pac West and National Player of the Week honors, and if I understand correctly, that the National Player of the Week honor had never been before achieved by a Dixie State volleyball player in your Division II era. So just a phenomenal weekend by Delane Daniel. Yeah,
I mean, just the fact that she hit such a high percentage, she was so efficient, and then she dug almost more balls than every libero. So she just made great reads on defense. She saw the court so well. She was just calm, and she was a leader. I mean, that's what we've loved about Delane this year, is she's gritty and feisty like she's always been, but now she's positive and she's being a leader, and it's been awesome to see her just transform into that go-to player that's just leading our team.
Of course, we'll have a player profile on Delane a little bit later in the show today, but we were all just really excited for the team and for Delane specifically. Now we take a quick look ahead at the next few weeks. You get 5 of your next 6 matches at home here in the Student Activity Center before with a non-conference game with Westminster sprinkled in the mix. a wonderful opportunity to continue to set the tone that you want to set in Pac West play at this point.
Yeah, being at home is the best. I think it can only just snowball confidence. We're tough to beat at home. Our gym is unique. It's small. It's low ceiling. You know, there's a lot of variables that we're used to that other teams aren't. So it's definitely an advantage for us to play at home. And our goal is to we don't lose at home. We take care of business at home, and then we go on the road and we get teams rattled. So I'm excited to be at home.
And of course, 2-0 in Pac West play, and any team sport likes to preach this, that you lost a few games in the preseason, but once that conference season starts, it's a new season, and you're playing to defend your Pac West title.
Absolutely. I mean, we said that the minute we got done playing. Guys, we're 0-0 right now, and we learned a ton. I mean, we could have padded our season with, preseason with, lower teams and been 10-0 or 20-0 or whatever, but we chose to play really tough teams, and we got, we figured out our weaknesses. So we got back in the gym and we worked on those. So I think for us, we're really glad about that.
And we've seen that in years past too, where you play these tough opponents and maybe drop a few matches here and there in the preseason, but no need to press the panic button. We know that you'll bounce back and have a great conference season, and we're looking forward to it. We really appreciate you stopping by and chatting with us. Now, before you go, we have our Trailblazer Weekly hard hat. All of our guests sign this thing.
All right.
It's
I thought you were going to make me wear it.
No, you can put it on if you want, but go ahead and sign that thing anywhere you want, and just kind of our way to show who's been on the show and how much we appreciate you for being here. So thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here, and we wish you the best of luck. And,
thank you.
And we'll be there cheering you on at all the games. So
perfect.
It's time for another break. When we come back, we'll take a look ahead at the next week in Dixie State Athletics. We'll also hear from senior outside hitter Delane Daniel in our player profile feature. We're back with more Trailblazer Weekly after this timeout.